Here to keep the peace. US President Joe Biden arrives in Belfast to mark 25 years of the Good Friday Agreement.
Hecklers interrupted French President Emmanuel Macron's speech on the future of the European Union.
The lawyer of the former vice president of the European Parliament insists on her innocence and say they will ask for her release without restrictions.
US President Joe Biden arrived in Belfast on Tuesday evening at the start of his four-day visit to Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic. After being briefly welcomed by British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, Biden was whisked away to his hotel. The president is in Northern Ireland to mark the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement that brought peace to this part of the United Kingdom. The US helped negotiate an end to often brutal sectarian violence that killed thousands over the course of several decades. Belfast police are on high alert for the visit, which will later today have Biden making a speech at the new Ulster University. Biden has said his top priority is to make sure the Irish Accords and the Windsor Agreement stay in place to keep the peace. He's also expected to talk about how the US administration can support Northern Ireland's fragile economy.
Even outside his own country, Emmanuel Macron can't escape anger over his pension reforms.
I can answer this question if you give me...
The French president was interrupted by hecklers during a speech in the Netherlands on the future of the EU. When order was restored, he said Europe needs to innovate to compete with China and the US, particularly in net zero industries.
This is critical. Otherwise, we will lose our sovereignty and our ability to decide. We will fit with the requirements. We will become neutral for 2050. But with Chinese or American technologies, which will put us at risk and create a huge turmoil because it will kill jobs, and it will create a situation where we will not be in a situation to decide for ourselves.
Macron has just returned from China, where he was seeking to reset EU relations with the superpower. He has long maintained that in order for Europe to thrive in the future, it must have strategic autonomy from China and the US.
Eva Kaili is the only defendant still in prison 4 months after the revelation of the corruption scandal in the European Parliament. In an exclusive interview with Euronews, the lawyer of the former parliamentary vice president insists on her innocence and says Kaili's defense team will ask for her release without restrictions.
He acts like a prosecutor. Madame Kaili a été entendue maintenant, les 2 dernières semaines, plus de 15 heures. Madame Kaili a répondu à toutes les questions et toutes les accusations des enquêteurs. Alors, il y a bien évidemment un problème, parce que ni le juge d'instruction, ni le procureur fédéral, ni les enquêteurs veulent entendre les réponses de Madame Kaili. Dans leur vision tunnel qui est la leur, ils veulent entendre certaines réponses, mais ce ne sont pas les réponses que Madame Kaili donne. The defense and the prosecutor.
According to the lawyer, Eva Kaili remains in prison because she's being used as a trophy for the Belgian authorities.
Des cas comme Madame Kaili, qui sont tellement considérés comme un trophée ou un symbole, et qui sont montrés comme la Coupe du Monde. Un joueur de football lève la Coupe du Monde quand Madame Kaili ici est levée comme étant le symbole pour dire, même si on a des hautes fonctions, vous resterez en prison, et c'est pour surtout dire aux autres parlementaires, ne commettez pas de corruption parce que vous irez longtemps en prison. Je trouve étonnant que un assassin qui tue quelqu'un par 6 balles dans la tête, en Belgique est libéré après 4 mois, et que Madame Kaili, après 4 mois et 1 semaine, n'est toujours pas libérée.
Sven Marie insists there is no reason to keep her in jail as she cannot escape or destroy evidence.
Madame Kaili ne va pas s'évader en Grèce pour ne pas revenir. Et de toute façon, entre la Grèce et la Belgique, il y a une convention d'extradition. Madame Kaili ne sait pas faire disparaître les soi-disant preuves. Madame Kaili ne sait pas rentrer en contact avec des autres personnes qui éventuellement l'accuseraient. Par exemple, M. Panzeri. Madame Kaili, à ce stade-ci, est suspendue au Parlement européen, donc elle ne sait pas récidiver, elle ne sait pas, pour autant qu'il y ait des crimes ou des délits qu'elle a commis, elle ne sait pas recommencer. Donc aujourd'hui, ce serait d'une tristesse absolue qu'elle soit maintenue en prison.
Eva Kaili is due to appear before a court on Thursday. She's accused, among other things, of corruption and money laundering in a bribery scandal at the European Parliament.
The world's economy is set to grow less this year than initially expected. Persistently high inflation, rising interest rates and uncertainty have forced the IMF to downgrade its forecast. However, the institution prefers to see the glass half full.
The global economy remains on track for a gradual recovery from the pandemic and Russia's war on Ukraine. China's reopened economy is rebounding strongly. Supply chain disruptions are unwinding, while the dislocations to energy and food markets caused by the war are receding.
The IMF now predicts global growth of 2.8% this year, down from its January forecast of 2.9%. According to the IMF, advanced economies will grow by just 1.3%. They've been hit by the knock-on effects of the war in Ukraine. Emerging economies, thanks to the pull of China, are set to grow by 3.9%. The economy of the United Kingdom is predicted to shrink by 0.3%.
Myanmar's military has reportedly killed more than 100 people, including children, in one of its deadliest airstrikes. Crowds had been attending a ceremony held by opponents of army rule when a fighter jet dropped bombs directly onto the gathering. The attack targeted a village in the northwestern Sagaing region. The military is increasingly using airstrikes to counter an armed opposition, which began in 2021 when it seized power from the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi.
Erdogan is waiting for Putin in Turkey. On April 27th, Turkey's president will inaugurate his country's first Russian-built nuclear reactor, and he's expecting his counterpart to attend. It's a controversial invitation that was made by the same man who unblocked the Black Sea for grain exports from Ukrainian ports. But it marks Recep Tayyip Erdogan's efforts to remain on good terms with both the West and Russia.
The challenge for Turkey is going to be to define itself where it stands. If the opposition wins, Turkey is going to side with the West. It doesn't mean that the West is a perfect world. The West also has lots of problems in terms of democracy, in terms of political rights. When you look at the situation in England, in Hungary, in Poland, you don't see very nice pictures over there either.
Last December, Erdogan reportedly threatened to attack a NATO partner, alleging the militarization of Greek islands in the eastern Aegean Sea. The Turkish president declared that a missile could land in Athens. And although it seems a forgotten issue, Turkey remains a candidate country for the European Union. The European Parliament rapporteur has spoken about Ankara's lack of progress and authoritarianism.
People totally forgot that issue here in Turkey, and it is obvious to many people, many factions of the society, that the membership of the EU is a dream. It's not a reality anymore. I don't see that both sides have a strong desire to come together.
However, the European Union needs Turkey in areas such as migration. There are around 4 million refugees in the country. Brussels has set up a financial mechanism that has already mobilized 6 billion euros for Ankara to take them in. Erdogan has been moving closer to the Damascus regime, and has already stated that he would like to see 1 million Syrian refugees repatriated. Residents of Amsterdam are joining sex workers in the fight against plans to relocate the red light district to a suburban erotic center. At a public hearing, opponents of the move confronted and laughed at the mayor of Amsterdam while holding red lanterns, a symbol of protest.
Wij zijn tegen een megabordeel.
Waarom?
Omdat wij in een woonbuurt wonen. En we willen geen overlast. We hebben scholen in de buurt. En heel veel jonge kinderen en dergelijke. En we willen ook geen toeristen zoals op de Wallen.
Nee, dat is bij dit onderwerp echt heel erg moeilijk om iedereen tevreden te stellen. Er zullen altijd protesten zijn, er zal altijd verzet zijn bij elke oplossing die we kiezen.
Sex workers oppose the move, arguing that it could threaten their safety and deteriorate their working conditions.
Ik vind er eigenlijk niet zo heel veel van dat we dat hebben gezegd. En wat ik persoonlijk heel kwalijk vind is dat de burgemeester zegt dat wij alleen maar een toeristische attractie zijn en dat de mensen ons komen uitlachen en ons vernederen daar op de Wallen. En dat is gewoon niet zo.
Supporters of the move argue it is meant to fight against Amsterdam's sin city image and combat over tourism. Some international organizations have also opposed the move, such as the European Medicines Agency, as it is near one of the proposed sites for the erotic center.
Make a show!